Hi there, this is my channel, Jaru Walks. In the year 2024, I will embark on an epic walking journey across the United States. My plan is to walk 8,000 miles across the US 3 times, via the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. In the hiking world, this is known as a calendar year Triple Crown, and has only been completed by a handful of people in history. I plan to post weekly updates along the way, so you can join me for the journey.
So it's 4 a.m. and I woke up. I felt kind of cold and I was confused, and also kind of wet, and I was confused, why? Because I'm in a shelter and it's been raining kind of all night. And then I pulled my headlamp on and I looked. Look at this. It's all snow. The winds are blowing in right on me. It's like howling. My sleeping bag is covered in snow. It's melting. Oh god. I'm probably gonna have to get up and hike out of this. This really sucks. If you ever wondered how big a mouse is, that's about it. So I got out of camp around 6:45 this morning, and then my iPhone was too cold to charge, so I had to warm it up against my body to get it to start charging. And now you can see I'm back to walking in winter again. You know, it's like you could complain, but the trail's clear. It's not icy. It's a fairly clean trail. And it's like, I don't know, I signed up for this. That's what happens when you hike in the winter. It snows. So, all things considered, I feel pretty good. So I pulled my camera out to film this just for my own memory's sake, because this place is so pretty that I would almost come back here just to hang out and camp. I'll cut my camera to where you can kind of see what I'm looking at. I'm just happy to finally see something different. Pretty Creek. And the water's so clear. So the trail took this detour down to the river, and I'm like, why are we going back down to the river? And then I see this view. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Understandable. So, next day update. I'm approaching Virginia, and I'm at this barn with the AT sound on it, so I figured this would be a good spot to give an update. So I was saying, I think in my last comment, that yesterday my knee was hurting, and it kind of felt like there was a bubble under my kneecap that every time I would step, it would kind of squeeze out from under the kneecap. And as of today, that feeling has gone away. So that's the good news. And then as far as going to the doctor in Damascus or Abingdon, which is the nearest town, basically I have no doctors in my healthcare that are in network within 50 miles of Damascus. So I'm not going to be going to a doctor. But yeah, the good news is that the knee feels better, or at least the problem that I was having yesterday went away. And the knee itself, I would say, feels like I wouldn't go running and jumping around on it, and I can't just go jogging downhill on it. But otherwise, it's a good knee again. So I'll have to go back and look and see how many days it was from when I twisted it. But that's probably a week and a half or a little more. But I'm back to having a knee that isn't screaming at me with every misstep. So I still do feel like if I twisted it the wrong way, it would kind of tell me hey, back off. But at least most of my problems are gone with that. So turns out it was definitely the right call to keep hiking. Well, I somehow made it to Virginia.
And then now I'm something like midway through week 4, and I'm trying to figure out how to go faster. I'm gonna take a look at my mileage averages once I get into town, but I definitely know, my sense is that I'm about like 5 miles per day below where I would wanna be. If I were like on track to finish by the end of the year. And so obviously I still have a whole year, and the Appalachian Trail is supposed to be the most difficult of the 3 trails, but still I want to increase my mileage, and one might think it's as easy as suck it up, hike harder, but that's not the answer. I'm already going what feels like 18 miles a day, including town stops, for almost a month, a little under a month. And when you layer on top of that, still doing that through snow that's up to your knees or through rain, it's like each of those little variables that make it a little harder, each of those headwinds takes a little scoop out of your brain, a little scoop out of your persistence. And you can push hard 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but man, by that 4th day, the best way I can compare it or describe it is like if you just trained really hard in the sun all day and you're dehydrated now, that just chemically there's something off in your body. After 3 days of pushing hard, by that 4th day, you get that bonked, zoned out feeling. So it's not just a matter of pushing harder. Everyone has their limits based on their body's ability, their age, their, whatever your variables are. But I just want to take a moment to kind of like do a reset in Damascus and try and figure out what is it that I'm going to do to increase my mileage. Because even if I don't get straight to 23 miles a day, and eventually to like 25, 26 miles a day is where I want to be, I need to be moving closer towards that. It's not acceptable to be, it is acceptable to be where I am now, but in a week or two, it's not. So, yeah, I think for me, that's what Damascus is about. And really what this week is about is trying to figure out how to start bumping those daily mileages up. Because I think maybe that's in part what makes this story perhaps, even more interesting than it would be otherwise, which is my only hiking experience prior to this, other than hiking, in my daily life, was doing a thru-hike of the Arizona Trail, 4 or 5 months ago. So this is not a foregone conclusion that I'm gonna complete this. At the same time, I'm very mentally committed to doing everything I can to figure out how to make it happen. But I think that makes it an exciting story. I'm not just gonna come here right out of the gates blowing out 30-mile days every single day. And I'm also not engineering this hike to engineer the discomforts out of the hike. I think a lot of people, would have said, oh, a day or two before you get to the Smokies, it's covered now in 1.5 feet of snow. Let me just hop in a van and jump around it, and I'll come back to it in the summer or something, or in the spring when the snow's gone, and I'll crush miles through it. For me, my approach is I want to engineer every discomfort I can into this hike, and then I want to, smash my forehead into that wall, and I want to see where I fail, because then I know where my limits are, and I know that I have new challenges that I can come back to in the future, because those are the limits. For example, that winter Sobo. Only 9 people in history have ever completed a winter Sobo. And I'm not sure that anyone has ever completed a summit of Katahdin in winter as part of that winter Sobo. So, I think that the steps that my feet have been taking are matching up to the words that I'm saying to you right now. I initially thought winter Sobo would be an amazing experience if I was capable of it.
but it turned out that I wasn't, or at least the risk of death straight up was too high. But the key point is that I tried it. So anyway, like I said, I'm trying to make this hike really as hard as I can, and then I'm trying to rise to the challenges that I'm encountering along the way. And I would rather fail at a year-long Counter Your Triple Crown attempt where, you know, I found my failure points along the way, rather than I tried to eliminate as many of them as I could from the start to never hit those points. You know, I would personally be, and I'm just speaking for myself, just to be clear, like, I would be personally prouder of losing the title of Counter Your Triple Crown and completing a Triple Crown that finishes in January, you know, in 2025, no longer in the calendar year that I'm in, 2024. If on that hiking journey, when I met challenges, I walked into them and found my failure points, rather than like saw a challenge and then just ran away from it from the start. And so anyway, I've just had a lot of challenges in these first 3 weeks, weather-wise, body-wise, and physical ability-wise. So let me not run away from that fact. I'm not quite in the physical condition that I would need to be consistently knocking out 23 or 25 mile days, including town stops. But that's the challenge. Figure out, how do I get myself there? How do I get myself there as quickly as possible and without injuring myself along the way? So these are the thoughts that are on my mind as I'm coming into Damascus. I'm also really excited to eat food. Oh my God. Real food. Anyway, I guess I'll catch you guys in Damascus. Look at this little town. The grass is green. Feels like spring's arriving. This feels like something out of a movie. There's nothing quite like hitting a town to lift your spirits. I think the food does it, but also, you know, meeting people and just remembering civilization exists. I wonder if this town is hiker friendly. They have a lean-to in their park, and the trail literally goes right through their town. So I've been walking in town for about, 5 minutes now, and I encountered two people on the little walking trail, and both people smiled and said, "Welcome to Damascus." They knew that I was a hiker. Found it. And they're open. I already ate the burger, forgot to film it. All right, now I'm on my way to Crazy Larry's. Excited to see what he's all about. Here we are.
Referral, they said get a hold of the referral staff or something.
Heading out of Damascus. Hoping I find something flat, because I pretty much am gonna sleep right up here. So kind of holding myself accountable, I said that my bedtime for tonight was 9:30.
It's currently 9:50, so I'm a little bit late. I should be in bed by 10. And then since I had kind of an easy day today, my plan is to wake up tomorrow at 5 a.m., which would give me a 7-hour night of sleep, and then to be out of camp by 5:30 a.m., and then to hike until 8 p.m. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. So one more fun detail is we've got clear skies forecasted for the whole night. So I'm cowboy camping under a 3/4 full moon. Anyway, I woke up at 5:30 this morning and I got out of camp by 6:15 this morning. So ideally I'd like to do it earlier going forward, but definitely moving in the right direction. So feeling like I got off to an early and good start this morning. So we'll see where the day takes me. I made a wrong turn somewhere on the trail. I'm on this giant vehicle trail. I sensed something wrong because I didn't see any white blazes, and I looked up my location. And I haven't downloaded the maps for this section, so I'm just wandering back through the gray ocean of no map. And at some point I'm going to connect with the Appalachian Trail. I think it's coming right up here. But I think that was almost a half mile down there and a half mile back detour. Pretty annoying. I'll promise you. I think I've maybe made 3 wrong turns so far in this whole almost 500 miles. And I usually caught it pretty much immediately. And it's always that the trail just does a sharp turn, like almost a 180. And right where that 180 occurs, there's another trail coming right up to it. So you would just keep walking straight. No problem on the same trail. Nope. Wrong trail. So for the trail builders out there who build trails that join in a way that sends you right off trail, it would be amazing if you would put some yellow caution sign up saying, hey, if you follow your good trail intuition, you're gonna go the wrong way. That would be amazing. I'm just going to show you real quick. So if we look back down the trail this way, that's where I came from. And you would think just continue down the wide path, right? Well, there is a blue blaze sign there, but guess what? It's smeared off. You can't see it. So you would just continue down this wide path. But if you look off in the right, there's a little worn down path covered in leaves that you can't see. And there's a white blaze on that tree, right there. It's pretty annoying. It's all good, but it's pretty annoying. I mean, I promise you a lot of people are gonna make that mistake. It's funny because I used to make wrong turns all the time when I started hiking. And now when I make wrong turns, there's always some aspect of the trail that's just off. It's not clear. So it's kind of fun to come back and reassess, like, okay, what went wrong here? And I knew as I was walking back up that trail, there was gonna be something confusing like that. So I accidentally punched a tree. And all I have is Leuco tape and toilet paper. I think I'll probably just wash this off in the creek in a minute, but anyway, casualty of hiking. So, quick pause. Beautiful view. Oh, and there's deer all over this hill, and they just saw me and they're running away. Anyway, making pretty good time today, so feeling good. Otherwise, man, those deer are running. Yeah, that's all I got. So, quick update. It's now 8 o'clock, and I made it 24.3 miles today. So maybe just shy of my 25-mile goal, but I did meet my 23-mile kind of minimum goal. So I think a pretty good day. And then I'll have to double check the elevation gain, but there was a good amount of the hike today that was uphill. So I don't know, maybe 5,000 feet of elevation gained with some dips in there too. But pretty good day.
when you're walking on mud, but the mud's frozen. So much faster. Answer was no, but I respect that. So a quick little update on last night. Around 3 a.m. I woke up to the sound of drizzling rain, which is not good because I was cowboy camping. And I assume most people know what that means, but cowboy camping means I was just sleeping on the ground. I had no tent or tarp set up. I wasn't in a shelter. So luckily I woke up as soon as it started, and I actually had my tarp ready to go nearby. And my sense was that it was just kind of a drizzling rain. So I just grabbed it and threw it over myself like a blanket. And then the rain went on for about 30 minutes. And somehow I didn't get wet. But I definitely didn't really sleep during that 30 minutes. And my sleep was not good for the next 2 hours, just kind of experiencing that, worried that it would start again. And so I rolled out of camp on my feet at 7:15 in the morning, so later than I wanted to. And then looking forward for the day, it's 28.3 miles from where I camped to the shelter I would like to get to. That's a pretty big ask considering that I left at 7:15 in the morning. There's another shelter that's just 20 miles up from where I camped. But 20 miles is not enough for today. And then to add the complications, around 6 p.m., going all the way through 6 a.m. the following morning, the weather has it forecasted that it's like a 30 or 40% chance of rain all night. I don't like those odds. So it really would be ideal to be in a shelter for that. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to push past this shelter at the 20 mile marker. And then the question is, am I going to kind of brave it out in my tarp? Or can I actually find the willpower to push to that 28 mile shelter? So that's kind of what I have going on for today. The one thing in my favor is that this section is relatively flat, a little uphill, a little downhill. So at least I have that going for me, but we'll see how the day goes. Never seen one of these before. Killer tree. I don't know, that tree seemed pretty friendly to me. I have the strong sense that tags like that are the result of master's students somewhere involved. It's like I'm gonna hike just on the East Coast, like over 2,000 miles, and I'm going to be constantly coming across trees that are deadened like that and leaning and could fall over. And there's no tags on any of those trees. And I know that it's not their job to go monitor those trees, but it's like at the point that the trail is 2,000 miles long and they're everywhere, like what real service are you doing me marking these particular trees as killer trees? To me, that signifies more a personal fear on their part. You know, that in a 1 in a million shot, if one of these trees falls over and kills somebody, that in their twisted minds, there's going to be some like courtroom drama that unfolds where they're indicted for their egregious actions. I'm trying to imagine how like that courtroom drama would unfold. I think the scenario is I'm dead. And then there's a lawyer representing my estate. And on trial are all the master students. So the lawyer addresses the judge. He says, keep in mind he's from Virginia. Your Honor, I have it on high authority that these here master students knew that those trees were unlike any other trees in this forest. And in fact, they did know that there was some killer trees. And despite, oh yeah they did, and despite knowing that those were some killer trees, did they do what anybody would do? You know, maybe something as simple as a pink tag saying, warning, these are some killer trees. Did they do that? No, they did not. And in so doing, my client dead. And so as the lawyer's making his case, the judge is just seated there, shaking his head in disbelief and disgust at the, negligence of the master students. So obviously it's a quick verdict for the jury, comes back guilty. And so they decide to sentence the master students to the highest punishment under Virginia state law, which is for them to get PhDs. I wonder if those are killer power lines. Wasn't totally clear from the signage. Says that it was made in 1894. And I'm gonna pop over here to the side. There's 2 outhouses in the back. How cool is that? Wooden outhouses. One for, I guess, the boys and one for the girls. Full moon way out there. We got a Sunoco in the Exxon. I heard the Exxon's the better resupply, but I'm still gonna pop in this Sunoco and see what's in there. Because then later in a minute, I'm gonna go down here to the Hostel, which is somewhere that way. See a person walking. I wonder if that's an AT hiker. All right, so I just walked into this gas station and you just saw me before say there's a hiker or a walker on the road up there. I wonder if it's an AT hiker, and it's 5 stack. He just walks right and he's like, hey, what's up?
How's it going?
Man, I'm so happy to be here, dude.
Oh, all right.
And so he just said that he's going to the Mexican restaurant. And so in my head earlier in the day, I was like, oh, I heard that there's another person staying at the hostel tonight. I was like, oh, if I get there in time, maybe they'd want to get a burrito with me, because I haven't met another thru hiker northbound on trail since before the Smokies.
Yeah.
It's been like 20 days for me. Yeah.
I have to remember when I saw somebody last.
Yeah, when was it for you? Yeah.
Smokies.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I want to say we're not alone. We are alone.
Yes,
but
we
now
are.
we're not, just for today.
All right.
Walking up to, what is actually the name of this hostel? The Alpaca Farm?
Yeah, there's a long neck something or other.
I'll look it up and then put it in text in the bottom. But what a beautiful place.